India sits at the heart of one of the world's most valuable tuna corridors. Our Indian tuna, harvested from the waters of Lakshadweep and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, comes from nearly 47% of India's 2.02 million square kilometer exclusive economic zone. And yet, when we talk about global tuna, India is rarely part of that conversation. What makes this story interesting is that sustainability is not something that we need to build from scratch. In Lakshadweep, artisanal fishermen have long practiced pole and line fishing, one hook, one fish, zero waste, making the fishery naturally aligned with what global markets today are increasingly demanding. But as aspirations grow to move tuna from a purely artisanal activity toward a more organized and value driven sector across the islands, a number of questions and concerns begins to surface. Fishermen fear losing control. Investors look for certainty before committing capital. Buyers seek consistency in quality and supply. And governments must balance growth with sustainability and long term viability. Somewhere between opportunity and caution, a cycle forms, a vicious cycle that has kept India's tuna potential largely untapped, despite the possibility of creating significant additional value for coastal communities. So, in today's conversation, we explore a simple but important question: how can India unlock its tuna opportunity responsibly, sustainably, and collectively? Joining me today is Dr. Grinson George Parinjakara, ARS, Director of the ICAR, Simmefarai in Kochi, and Shobha Ma'am, Head of Kingfish Division. Dr. George is a PhD in oceanography and recipient of prestigious Dr. Rajendra Prasad Award. Dr. George has led groundbreaking research on fishery management, marine ecosystems, and climate adaptation. Dr. George and Ma'am Shobha, welcome, and thank you so much for agreeing to be on this podcast with me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Dr. Shobha is head of Fish Fisheries Division.
Yes, sir. And this tells me a lot how important this conversation is for the entire industry. So, sir, thank you for joining me. Thank you, ma'am, for joining me. So, my question to you is, from Semafrai's perspective, where does Indian tuna stand today in terms of export readiness?
Okay, from Simafari, if we speak, tuna has been always a very much observed and scientifically studied fish. So we have a full-fledged division called Fish Fisheries Division, which is involved in dealing with this fish. There are around 20, 25, 26 scientists working on different aspects of the finfish, and a smaller group studies with much more importance to the tuna biology, tuna stock assessment, and the possibility of tuna in the entire value chain. So I think that Dr. Shobha will be the right person to narrate more on the export readiness of the tuna, which is at present available as a major resource in Indian EEZ. I will hand over to Dr. Shobha to take over from me to discuss much more on the readiness of tuna.
Thank you, sir. As far as Indian tuna goes, we have considerable resources which are sustainably fished at the moment. And when you talk about tapping the potential, it is not about increasing the quality, the quantity, but what needs to be done is to focus on the quality of the products that are exported. So when we talk of improving tuna exports or the current status of tuna exports, I think what deserves to be focused on is the quantity. the quality, the processing, the processes involved in processing and value addition of the harvested tunas. So when you talk of potential for Indian tuna exports, I think that should be the highlight of the discussion.
Yes, definitely. It's the quality of the tuna what is deciding the export readiness of tuna also. So we have to focus much on how this quality readiness can be obtained for tuna as a resource to get it exported more to the countries where the tuna is in high demand.
Right, sir. What are the challenges that we see that are the barriers behind accessing premium global markets despite strong demand? Can we talk about the fears, like in the last discussion, we talked about the fears of all the stakeholders. Can we just quickly mention what each stakeholder is having a fear in his mind?
Basically, tuna, when it comes to the commodity-wise ranking of the fishes in Indian commercial landings, tuna is not surfacing among the not surfacing among the top landed species. As such, probably in the distribution also, its availability is comparatively lesser compared to the most landed species. And when it is landed also, it is coming from water which are not much utilized, in the sense like we have more fishing happening in the nearby coastal waters, maximum up to a depth of maybe 50 meter or 60 meter. Beyond that, again, yes, vessels are going, they are fishing also. But dedicated people going only for tuna, it is comparatively much less compared to the entire complexity of Indian fisheries, I believe so. So they have been looking into this aspect. So when tuna has to come from the locations which are not a normal location, it requires a better infrastructure, better cold chain, better mechanisms to preserve the quality of the tuna. And as indicated in the introduction, you also indicated that why tuna is not getting exported. If the quality is not up to the market potential, the rates what the fishermen they are receiving is much less. It may be even 10 times lesser than what they will actually get if it is of export quality. So this makes Indian tunas vulnerable with respect to the export market or export potential. We can cite examples from Maldives and Sri Lanka, but Maldives and Sri Lanka, they are typically island countries which are focusing on this as a resource. But in India, such focused attempts doesn't come to the place where the tunas are available. In, as you rightly mentioned, in Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar group of islands, the islands are in general not easily accessible. So even if fish is available, how the fish can reach to the value chain unless and until there is a proper accessibility. Probably Dr. Shobha will be able to tell about the way in which they are harvesting and how the quality can be preserved to access the export potential also.
Yeah, primarily in India, our marine fisheries is typically multi-species, and there is not much targeted fishing done for specific resources. So the focus is more on the multi-species aspect of the fishery. And tuna resources per se don't form the focal point of fisheries, except in the island parts of Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So there again, access is a little limited, and the facilities are also very limited. So storage, preservation, all these are big challenges when it comes to the islands. The kind of boats also, by and large, we have small scale fisheries in operation. Most of the fishing is done by this sector, which is either artisanal or small scale in nature. So there is some amount of, some effort is being diverted towards converting some of the boats into tuna longliners, but it has not completely taken off. So with that kind of fishing status, and with limited resources as far as infrastructure for processing and value addition is concerned, there are limitations to the extent in which we can, boost our export potential for tuna resources.
Recently, the Department of Fisheries convened Lakshadweep's first investors meet
Yes,
on
I
December.
attended it.
Yes, sir, exactly. And that event, because I was reading that article, and what I gathered from that article is that this event was so important that our minister, Rajiv Ranjan Singh sir, also came and attended to showcase our untapped marine wealth, and that attracted fresh interest from leading industry players. And so,
Right, right. I think following it up, we also had a Malsimela. Both of us attended the Malsimela in Lakshadweep also, which was done under the aegis of the Lakshadweep Krishi Vigyan Kendra, which is part of Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. Dr. Shobha interacted with most of the stakeholders. There was a major session which was tuned to this need also. So probably you can comment on some of the points emerged during the discussion.
Yeah, we had a couple of stakeholder meetings, I think around 4 or 5, in which we focused on different aspects of tuna fishing and processing export possibilities. And there were sessions exclusively with the women entrepreneurs and then the industrialists who have shown interest. We also had the Secretary of Fisheries Lakshadweep participating in those programs. So a number of opportunities have come out, and they are exploring what can be done to improve the quality of the tuna that is landed there and brought to the mainland. Um, let's see if everything works out well. Maybe in a couple of years, things might go in the right direction. Definitely, the government is moving ahead with a lot of schemes, and every effort is being done to promote tuna exports. I wouldn't say that we are trying to promote catching more tuna, because as of now, Indian tuna fishing is sustainable. So we wouldn't want to disturb that too much. But within the ages of this sustainability, we are trying our best to support whatever can be done to promote tuna exports and improving the quality of tuna. We also had the Central Institute of Fishing Technology participate in these meetings. So they are also working on value addition and improving the value chain. We had representatives from the Marine Products Export Development Authority. So I think probably in a couple of years, these things should be well in place.
Yes, basically, as you indicated, and we also talked, there is a quite good awareness among the people that quality of the tuna is the deterring factor that deters the export potential of the tuna. So quality maintenance is of utmost importance. But how to get it done? Who is going to invest in these activities? Whether the government should be the sole player. That's why government wanted the investment to come from the private parties. That is why typically the investors meet happen. And we are taking follow-up actions as responsible government agencies. That's why again we had the Lakshadweep Malsimela. So these things are happening. And you told about the scheme the government of India is launching also. So many things are happening. So let us see that these things are required in a cycle where tuna as a resource is concerned. We have to maintain the quality, we have to develop the value chain, and finally, the people who are really into tuna fishing, they should get a better price also. And there are good examples in the nearby countries also. So things are feasible. But okay, this can happen only in a slower pace because this is not an area where there is going to be huge rush. As such, the fishery sector in India is growing at a rate of 10%. So there is a lot happening in Indian fisheries sector. So this is one prime area where there is a lot of attention, and that's why probably we are discussing much more on tunas as on now.
absolutely. Like we discussed that about the vicious circle, right? That is preventing us to really take the first necessary step that can become a template for success for others to follow. Of course, like we discussed that there are 10 different islands, right?
Yes,
And we
that is
have
an election.
in Lakshadweep. So can we talk about different islands and and of course there will be different kind of fishermen, who are progressive oriented and who are like that, that if we scale it up, what will happen? Like fear of losing control, right? So can we talk about all those things? And on the other hand, what what amount of tuna we can tap, like what is the production that we're looking at? Because in the investors meet it was mentioned that currently we are standing at 3,500 tons, and we can take it up to like 1 lakh tons of volume. So, how can we, what that journey looks like? Of course, we cannot reach suddenly to 1 lakh tons. So, how can that journey be cut into, different pilots, so that it starts generating confidence of others to follow, and also gives confidence to the government or to the investors? Because ultimately what we need alignment, we need capital, we need confidence. So how can we build that step by step?
So 3,500 tons is, I think you're referring to the export quantum?
Yes.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, we are not looking at increasing the production of tuna through fishing, because as of now, our fisheries is staying at the sustainable level. The production of tuna in 2024 was slightly over it was around 1.2 lakh tons. And almost 67% of this comes from the coastal fisheries. So the neritic tunas, the smaller tunas form the bulk of the landings. The remaining 40 odd percentage is what is constituted by the tunas that are really in export demand. So we have the yellowfin and the skipjack, which they are the larger tunas, and they form the mainstay of our export value tunas. And then again, we come back to the issue of places of interest, that is the island territories. Here, one thing we need to understand is, yes, we talk about improving the fishery, or improving the vessel capacity, improving the infrastructure for processing. All that is true, but we also have other challenges. For example, transportation is one of the biggest challenge faced in these areas. So there again, we need interventions by not just one ministry, several ministries have to come together. So it needs a complete holistic kind of involvement from the part of the government, both of the union territories as well as the center. And again, investors, they are a major concern, because unless and until we have investors who are willing to contribute in developing infrastructure all around, it's not going to be an easy task. And the people, we cannot expect the people to go for loans for developing their infrastructure and then supporting the export market, because that is what I think we were talking about, the vicious circle that day. So we don't want our stakeholders to get into that kind of a vicious circle.
But at the same time, I think the fishermen never were averse to this ideas.
Yeah.
They were also interested in getting a better price. There is no doubt. They were telling like many a time in the resources available, they are not getting the best price. So they are also concerned. So this is the general feeling what they also emanated when we had the discussions with the fishermen group also. They really want to catch the resource, get the best price for them, so that they will also flourish. But at the same time, who is going to invest? There is a question they are asking. 10 islands, as you indicated, it remains in comparatively more isolation.
Yeah.
So how to connect them? Is it one mother vessel, or should we have storage plants in big storage plants in each islands? And if they are putting the tuna into the storage plants, if the tuna has to reach at the right time with the sashimi grade, who is going to deal with the entire effort? Because after a certain time period, even if you have the best cold chain systems in the world also, it is not going to get the best price. So these are some concerns. So from one side, the exporters, they demand the best quality, but the other side, the perishability and other things we have to consider. It's a commodity which is going to be perishing very soon. The time when it is getting harvested onwards, it loses its quality. So time is very precious. The value chain is very precious. There are different sorts of investment which has to happen before the fisherman is getting the best price.
Absolutely. And sir, who all are those investors that we are talking about?
No, as I indicated, it can come from the public sector, it can come from the private sector, it can come from the fishermen cooperatives themselves. But as such, the fishermen who are in Lakshadweep, they are not having such a strong financial background, or there are not bankable projects coming for this particular activity. So there are issues. So who are the right investors? The people who are coming to Lakshadweep are really not the investors; they are buyers. They are telling like, okay, if a particular quality of tuna in a certain quantity is available, we are ready to take. How to generate that quantity, what a mothership can come and acquire, how to invest in a thing which is not practically not active now. So these are some of the questions. People come, people discuss. Even there are private entrepreneurs who have ventured for the otherwise comparatively lesser quality of tuna what is available. Without this cold chain, that quality will come automatically down. Tuna is as such fresh.
Yeah.
But when we are catching and we are not able to maintain the cold chain, its quality come down. So the lesser quality tunas can go to the cans. So there is a canning effort done by one person from Kerala. We had discussion with him. So he is trying to operate from the Minikoi group of Minikoi Islands, so that he want to can the products. So different people are trying different mechanisms. At the same time, Lakshadweep natives, they are telling like their own product mass meat. It can have a value. So all these discussions are happening. So whether we have to invest much more, whether we have to promote the traditional products, or shall we go for the existing quality with some value addition to get a market price. All these discussions are happening, and these discussions are not happening in isolation. We are involving stakeholders. The department is involving stakeholders. Lakshadweep administration is involving stakeholders. But this is going to be a slow process because it's not a very big resource to tackle with. One side, we are worried about the sustainability. So all these discussions will happen, and it will be a slow progressing thing. India always had slow progress, small progress, but we always see that sustainability is maintained. Unlike the other nations which switch to industrial fishing, India is still a small scale fishery because our progress was small, and still our stocks are sustainable. When the globe is crying of over exploitation, unsustainable fishing practices, India still have better methods because we stick to small scale fishing, supporting the community. Almost 1 million households, the family of fishermen, and 4 million fishers involved in this activity. We feel that this community has contributed to a great deal to keep Indian fisheries sustainable. So it's the case of tuna. So we'll have slow progress, steady progress, but it will happen.
So, if I can ask you, how much tons these 10 islands are generating currently? Approximately.
No, we have to look into the data statistics in particularly, but I don't think like the annual average production is close to 17,000 tons only. So it's not a big figure. So out of which majority is tuna. So it will be much less.
So, are we, when we're talking about, increasing export potential of tuna, are we looking at increasing the volume beyond what is being generated or produced currently? Because that is very less. So, we have to increase the volumes, isn't it?
No, but Madam was discussing, Madam is telling like we are sticking to the sustainability. Our effort should be to improve the quality.
There is no point in increasing volume if you don't have the resources to improve the quality. So as of now, what we would look at is the ideal thing would be to improve the quality of whatever is landed. And if we are sure of ensuring a proper value chain and ensuring the required quality for getting the desired returns, then probably we can look at how much we can improve the quantity landed in order to maintain it at sustainable levels.
Yes.
But right now, I think that is not the option.
Right. So, have we done any study on how much minimum those investors, those buyers would ask from us? Like
Yes,
what
yes.
is the
That will be
minimum?
approximately 3,000 tons at a go. Like they need around 3,000 to 4,000 tons at a go. If a big mother vessel has to come, minimum that quantity they want to take. Then only it will be feasible for them.
So,
And that way,
are we generating that much? 3,000,
that's not now, no.
4,000 tons?
That's not now,
No.
no.
So we have to take our production to those levels, 3,000 tons to 4,000 tons, so that we.
No, no. Again, this 3,000 tons and 4,000 tons, when we are saying, it should be with the quality they insist, no. So first we should have a facility to maintain that quality. Then we can think of upscaling it.
Right, right. So
So,
again, yeah. So again, what I'm interested to know is that um, am I thinking right when I say that if we can catch hold of that buyer, who commits buy 3,000 to 4,000 tons of quality tuna, and what is the investment that is needed, um, and if we are able to circle one or two or three islands who are able to produce this much quantity, how much mother vessels do we want? Who are those progressive fishermen that can become a part of that value chain, and what kind of cold storage we want, and then we align all of these people in one thread and align them in such a way that we are also simultaneously creating a brand out of India, that we have 3,000 tons of quality value added tuna ready, which is being bought by this buyer. This is of this quality. Are we also kind of thinking that all these things will have to be uh, progressed simultaneously, so that it creates a confidence. It gives a confidence to others.
that is right. But when you tell about this requirement, it's not like 3 or 4 islands. When we are thinking of the development, it has to happen in all the 10 islands. Because if you see like the population distributed in 10 islands, they are all involved in fishing and related activities. And the type of infrastructure required, okay, we can tell that there should be one place where the mother vessel can come and collect all this tuna. So there should be one location where 4,000 ton or 5,000 ton cold storage should be available. And in all the islands, there should be minor cold storages. And all these activities have to be completed starting from the harvesting till it reaches to the end point in a foreign nation. It should be completed within a span of 13 days or so. Then only the sashimi grade can be maintained. In countries like Sri Lanka or Maldives, the advantage is like if they have lesser quantity of tuna chilled loins available, it's having a market price, very good market price. It can be immediately transferred using the air freight. They need not wait for a vessel to come do all these mechanisms. Unfortunately, in our islands, particularly in Andaman and Lakshadweep, that particular connectivity is missing because it's not an international air route. Again, getting access to the existing domestic flights to take it to a international route also is a difficult task. So all these combined difficulties are clearly what we can say undermining the progress of tuna fishery also.
Moreover, when you talk about increasing our harvest to ensure production of 3,000 odd tons as required for all this, we will be looking at a sudden jump into an industrial level of fishing,
Yes.
which is not what we want. We want to maintain our fishing at the small scale level, but ensure quality products which can increase the revenue generated for the community as well as the country.
Okay, yes, noted your point. But you know, if we really want to make it an industrialized fishing, um, we need to also give confidence to our buyers that we are in a position to scale up the volumes and still maintaining the fact that our resources are sustainable, right? That's how we give them a confidence that yes, we can supply you, uh, consistent volumes and at a predictable quality, right? So if we are not looking at that angle also, how can we scale it up to an industrialized fishing?
No, the harvest what is happening as on now can be comparatively less, but when the facilities come up, there is a market that we can do it. The existing fishing capacities or slightly enhanced capacities are sufficient for that. But basically, as Madam indicated, our prime interest is to indicate the fishermen, the authorities, the policy planners, the developers that quality has to be improved. First, we have to improve the quality, whatever means it may be. Maybe we are not getting the best price when we are improving the quality. So we are trying to make attempts to improve the quality of the tuna by improving the value chain in all the possible means. See that the correct indications scientifically on the resource availability. We have scientific indications on what is the available resources. This resources is huge. So that's why people are interested in getting those resources to their food table. So there is no doubt that resource is available. There is no doubt there is an existing market. But this resource availability and the market is connected through different value chains, supply chains, and different communities, different types of people who are involved in this. This is not like from one point to another point. It's not a straight thing. It's a complex process in which it reaches the final stakeholder or consumer. So all these chains have to be strengthened. Slowly, I think small links are being generated. Once all these links get connected slowly, I told it's always a slow but steady progress what is happening in the sector. Then things will be more clear. And as the situation demands, definitely that time we can think of enhancing the fishing mechanism to the next level, or next we can put the next gear to accelerate the fishing to catch more. But first, let's see that the fishermen are getting better price, the quality is maintained. So all those things are our primary concerns.
So if we happen to increase the volumes, what do you think? What extra mechanism do we have to have in order to ensure that our resources are still sustainable?
Based on our research, we predict what will be the maximum possible level we can go to ensure that the resources maintained at sustainable levels. And those are advisories which we release timely, advisories which are given to the different departments and also to the Central Department of Fisheries, based on which regulations are inculcated into the state and island MFRAs. So, as long as the fishing is maintained at those levels, there should not be much issue. But then again, it is not a steady thing that we predict something today and then that will hold good for 10 years. These things need continuous monitoring and assessment. So,
Dynamic resource.
yeah, they're very dynamic, and these are resources which we don't actually see. So these are all based on several assumptions and algorithms, and so many factors go into them. So it's not something that we can just say, we can fix a figure and say, okay, this is what you need to do.
But we don't doubt our R&D
Yeah.
mechanism. We are very
No,
strong
it's one of the most robust in
most
the
robust mechanisms in
yeah.
the world. Also, we can
Yeah.
say like so. From the scientific side, we are there to support. Our R&D mechanisms clearly indicate that okay, how much we can harvest. All those figures are available. The mechanisms are available. How it has to ensure sustainability. Such things are also there. If somebody is coming for a certification process, also the major the initial auditing what is required to assess the stocks, the environmental auditing, the management plans. We have scientific resources available for tunas also. It's not like things are not there. Things are there scientifically, technologies, documents, all things are in place.
Great. So do we how do we get to have access to that information? Like,
Yes, we have something called e-prints at Semaphore. That is a digital repository. Whatever Semaphore is generating, we publish in that e-prints at Semaphore. You can refer to that document. Go to the subject area where tuna and related resources are there. You can download all the documents.
if we were to design an India playbook, okay, like India playbook where we see that, okay, this 12 months or maybe like 24 months, this is what should be the target in terms of, again, volume, and how do we align all the stakeholders and make it MSC ready.
When it comes to certification, we are for sustainability. We are a research organization, so we are for sustainability. If certification is bringing a better price, we are happy. But it's not like we will be working for the MSC certification process, but we'll give all the support. As I indicated, the three major pillars where they want to see the stock status, they want to do the environmental audit, they want to do the management plan. Simify can give the scientific support. So certification is a process which is more done with the right documentation, right planning, and there are a lot of other things involved. So Semaphore is not really getting into the nitty-gritties of that. So if it is happening, definitely we are going to support with the scientific support needed for those people who are trying to do the certification process. So just for the need of certification, we cannot just ask the fishermen to generate more volume. We will be indicating that, okay, the certification is also a good thing, let it happen. We will give the scientific support for that. Once the certification is coming and there is a price jump for the frozen tuna and other products also, if the volume has to be increased, we will look into the best way of sustainably doing it. That's how we will be proceeding with that.
If
Absolutely.
there is a red flag to be raised, we will definitely do that also.
Yes.
Because we cannot stand for something that is not sustainable.
If India wants to position its tuna as a globally trusted, certified product, what must it get right in the next 5 years? Maybe this may be our concluding session.
As we said, quality, ensure quality. That should be the first step.
Yes, yes. And what is required to ensure that quality. That can be the most priority thing what we have to address for tuna in Indian conditions.
Yeah, having the best infrastructure and having the right stakeholders, and maybe make a template for success for others to follow.
Yes.
Right, and creating a lot of awareness programs.
That is happening. So people are aware.
Right. So India is at an inflection point. India's government has an ambitious goal of doubling the seafood exports by 2030 and high levels of sustainability. So today's discussion shows that India's tuna challenge is not about scarcity, it is about alignment. Am I right when I say that?
Yes.
The science exists, the sustainability practices already exist, markets are ready, policy momentum is building. Perhaps what India needs now is collective confidence. Where science guides expansion, sustainability becomes the foundation, and branding transforms responsibility into global recognition. And if it is done right, Lakshadweep tuna may not just become another export commodity, it could become a model of how developing nations like India can scale fisheries responsibly while protecting ecosystems and communities. Because the future of tuna may not belong to those who catch the most, like ma'am said, but to those who manage it the wisest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Pleasure having you. And it's an absolute opportunity for me to have this kind of closed door discussion with you, and sharing the narratives that we just had with the world. Because let
Yeah.
me tell you, sir, everyone is waiting for this podcast to go live because they want to hear from you. And this is my first podcast that I'm doing with a government organization. And it tells a lot about the openness, right? About the collective leadership that government believes in. Thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.